Good afternoon. I just want to spend a few minutes to walk through what I'm looking for in the implementation and evaluation and control plan sections for your marketing plan for the term project. So let me just walk through a few things real quick, and hopefully this helps. Okay, so first of all, if you look in the term project folder in Blackboard at the term project document that gives you the details on the project, there's two sections that speak to what we need to be submitting for this week's submission. So for the marketing implementation plan section, I'm looking for you to talk to or speak to the organizational structure that you need for your plan and the actual activities that will need to be conducted, along with some timing for those. So we'll talk more about that here in a minute. And then for the evaluation and control plan section, in this section we're really looking to set a bar for how you will determine whether or not you're successful with your plan, and how you will monitor your progress towards your goals. So let me explain a little bit further here. First of all, if you look back in Chapter 2, there is some good discussion on the implementation and the evaluation and control plan sections. So if you look there, what I'm really looking for with this project is sections 2-2A and 2-2E. Specifically, what kind of organizational structure do you need? What are the tasks that are going to be involved? And the timing for how quickly these steps would be implemented. And then with respect to the evaluating marketing strategies plan section, this tracks to our implementation and evaluation and control headers. So here we're talking about establishing a performance standard. How are you going to measure progress? Is it going to be sales? Is it going to be costs? Is it going to be profit, market share, whatever it is? And then how are you going to compare your actual performance to the standards, or what's your process for that? And then finally, if you're not meeting your goals, what are the steps that you'll take to kind of get yourself back on track? Who's monitoring the performance of your company towards, or your marketing segment towards your plan goals? Who's responsible for that? How are they going to measure success? What reporting will they be looking at? How often will they pull those reports? So that's what I'm looking for there. Table 2.1 in the Chapter 2 itemizes these steps and just kind of gives you some bullet items that are helpful. You may want to use the same kind of structure in your draft submission, and that would be just fine. Okay, so a couple things I wanted to point out. For the marketing implementation section, this section tracks to back to your marketing mix conversation. So if you have determined that you want to develop a social media presence, for example, that would be part of the promotion conversation in your marketing strategies section, in your marketing mix. So what exactly do you have to do to establish a social media presence? Who's going to be responsible for each of the steps that are involved in building that presence, and over what time frame will they be conducting this portion of your plan? So that's the conversation that needs to happen in this plan section. In the evaluation and control section, this tracks back the conversation in this draft section tracks back to the marketing objectives portion of your marketing plan. So if your goal is to sell 4,000 bottles of wine in the first year, how are you going to measure that performance? What's your performance standard? Is it dollar sales? Is it unit sales? And then how often are you going to track your progress? So what reporting will be pulled? Are we looking at P&Ls, profit and loss statements? Are we looking at monthly sales, quarterly sales, and who's pulling that reporting, who's responsible for making that report, and who do they report it to. And then finally, what happens, if you're not meeting your goals there. So that's the conversation that needs to happen in this plan section. All right, so your draft will be submitted to this Dropbox in the week 12 folder. And then finally, let's talk about scoring. So this list here gives you just a blow by blow for the number of points that each of these sections is worth. I will be looking for conversation about how you're going to organize your effort as far as infrastructure, the activities that will be conducted, who's responsible. We're not talking a name necessarily here, we're talking a job function. So if you have decided with your infrastructure conversation that you need to hire a market manager for Spain, then maybe that's the person, that role is the person that's going to be responsible for visiting the restaurants in the area of Spain that you're marketing to. So that may be a specific activity that needs to be conducted, and then you assign that activity to the market manager that you've hired for Spain. And maybe you want that to happen in the first 2 months of their time in Spain, for example. So hopefully that gives you a little better idea of the specifics for what would go into that conversation in the implementation section. In the evaluation and control section, maybe you have decided that you're going to track unit sales, and the market manager is the person that's going to pull that reporting monthly and summarize it also quarterly, and they will deliver that information to Chateau Margaux's ownership or executive management group. So that's the conversation that would happen in that plan section. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or if I need to explain anything in more detail or in another way. I'll sure help however I can. Thank you.